How you doing? Name's Pastor Brian of Cross Street Church, and just wanted to take this time. That's about my third or fourth time being on here to give my testimony a little bit about who I am and where I come from. The testimony that I have is a pretty powerful one. As of right now, I'm writing a book about it, but it starts out. Basically, I was in the mafia for almost a decade, man. I was locked up the majority of the '90s. As you can see, I'm all tattooed down. I mean, everywhere I'm tatted down. I mean, pretty much what you've seen on all the other things with the gangs and stuff like that on TV, lockdown, that was me, that was my life. But the reason that I come on here to give my testimonies, to testify about the goodness of God, to testify about what Jesus Christ has done in my life, to testify about how He's delivered me. I can go on and on about, all the different times that I should have been dead. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been left for dead, I've been stomped, I've been beat up, but what gang member hasn't, you know what I mean? But the one thing that I can tell you is this, I got locked up in 2002 and I was facing a life sentence. It was over with. I guess you could say I'm a three-time loser at that time. And basically, through all the time that I was locked up, I remember that I had just given my life to the Lord 6 days previous, and I found myself in the back of a cop car again. What was different about this time is that, I actually had an experience with God. I found myself at the bottom of the bottom, I found myself, with two trash bags on a bus and kids looking at me. I had lost everything, my ride, my ruca, my house, money, dope, you name it, man. This, that's to somebody that's in the game, that's everything, But I found myself in the back of the cop car, and I'll never forget, the cop, and they were looking up my record, and they were checking me out, and this is a big bad gang member, and I was sitting there, man, and I had tears coming down my face, I remember, and the cop said, look at this, Vato, look at this, they say he's all crying, big tough guy, huh? And what they didn't realize is I wasn't crying because I was being locked up, I was crying because the Lord was speaking to me. At that moment, in the back of that cop car, He started to speak to me about what was going on in my life and what was transpiring, and about how, I had laid my life down for all my carnales. I had laid my life down for the streets. I had laid my life down for drugs. I had laid my life down so many times through the course of my life. And He said, would you lay your life down for me? You said that you'd given your life to me. You said that this was it. After all the different times that you said this, but this time you said you were for reals. And I have to say that at that moment, when I was in the back of that cop car, my life began to change. And I didn't really realize how much it had begun to change until I got to the jailhouse. And as you people that maybe be watching me or whatever, maybe you're in the mafia right now, maybe you're watching this from Califas or right here in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to tell you right now, man, being locked down, man, ain't no fun. And you know that. But for you that don't know, it ain't no fun, man. It ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. I can tell you this right now, man, being in a clica, being in a ganga, and a mafioso, man, ain't all what it's cracked up to be. As a matter of fact, 99.9% of you that are involved in these things, that are out on the calles and doing your thing, really and truly, if you look deep down inside, you wish you weren't doing what you were doing. Really and truly, deep down inside, you wish that you could find that love and that admiration and that acceptance somewhere else than where you're finding it right now. Because just like me, man, I was locked up, found myself in super segregation, and being there, I was under investigation in Dallas County Jail, and I faced an aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. They were offering me 60 years. I tell you what, when I was locked down in that cell for 2 weeks, man, when they had me under investigation, because I'm an ex-gang member, and ex-gang members aren't supposed to be able to walk away. They're not supposed to walk away from the familia. I was told that once you get in the rampla, that's it. It's just todo. There's no getting out, man. The only way to get out is in a body bag. Well, I tell you what, man, I didn't know where I was in my mind when I was in there. But I remember being in the cell that I was in, that as time permitted, man, I was laying there and I was next to some really some high-profile killers, man. The Texas 7 were a couple of cells down from me. There was a guy that had murdered his daughter and hung her inside her closet. There was another guy down here that was in a real high-profile case where he just shot up a bunch of Saudi Arabian stores, because you got to remember this is right after 9/11. There were some people locked up behind those killings and stuff that was going on in the streets. And man, here I was, back on death row, basically. One of the units that I was on, they moved me out of secret segregation a few years back in the 90s, off death row, man. The people they put in my cell was from death row. Blew my mind now, but back then I didn't really care. Because I'm going to tell you, when you're in the familia, when you're doing your thing out there in the yada, when you're in, when you're down for years, man, like I was, man, it doesn't matter. It's por vida. You give your life. And this is what would transpire in that cell, man. Is I would sit there day by day, just sitting in there, man, and all of a sudden, man, the Lord started to speak to me. But He was speaking to me through pictures and videos, man. I can't really, it's hard to translate what was going on, but there was like video pictures and stuff, like a movie on the walls of my jail cell. And the Lord started to show me every single place in my life, every place that I thought that it was me that got me out of the jail, or it was me that made something happen, or it was me that brought something about that brought me happiness, or a drug, or a woman, or a place, or a car, or all these things that happened when I cheated death and when I cheated being locked up so many times, that the Lord finally showed me throughout all those times that He was right there. And that it was Him that had His hand upon my life. And man, I can't tell you enough, man. I cried so many tears in that jail cell, man, that I kept turning on the playa. I kept turning on the shower. We call it playa in Spanish, but I kept turning on the shower, man, to drown out my tears, to drown out my groans, to drown out my screams and yells, man, because I didn't want nobody to hear you. You got to understand, man, I still had a lot of pride, The raza, we have a lot of pride, especially, what I was involved in, and I have to say that, in that moment in that jail cell, man, that's where God gave me the courage. I started reading my Bible. Don't ask me what made me want to read my Bible. What made me, it was the Holy Spirit that was doing this through me, man. And I'm going to tell you something. That's when my life began to take a change, man. And I finally said, you know what, Lord, I will go, man. And I will stand on your word. And no matter what happens, y lo que sea is what we say in Spanish. No matter what happens, I'm going to stand for your word. Because the word of God says this, that He says that when your ways please me, I'll make even your enemies at peace with you. Excuse me. Now you have to remember, I had a lot of enemies at this time. I had people that were gunning for me, and I knew that. I could have easily stayed in segregation. I could have easily stayed in the cell that I was in. But I have to tell you this, that man, I wasn't a punk when I was running with the familia, and I can't go into all the details of how I even got in the familia, how the books were opened up to me. But it wasn't because I was looking for the familia or wanting to join in. It was actually for a couple of people, man, that I really had a lot of love for, that we call in Spanish, they were firme. There was no strings attached, with our relationship as friends, when I was incarcerated and stuff. And I jumped for them one day and saved their lives, and the books were opened. But anyway, back to the story. I'm going to tell you, man, they asked me, they came to me and said, we know that you're an ex-gang member. We know that, that your life's on the line, and we know that they're going to be looking for you, gunning for you. And a lot of your familia is here in the Dallas County Jail. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the option to be able to stay in here, or, come out population. So I renounced everything. I said, look, I give my life to Christ, man, and I want to come out, man. I want to come to population. Because, I felt like this, that, if I'm going to run with the baddest man, the baddest hombre on the planet, the one that even every gang member, every tough guy, every bad actor, every drug dealer, the president of the United States, everybody looks up to, then I should be able to come out there and be safe. I guess you can say that I had a childlike faith. I don't have much time left on here. I have about a minute. So, I'm going to end with this, and then I'll catch up on another video. So we'll call this part 1 of Pastor Brian's testimony. That's right. I'm a pastor now of a church here in Oak Cliff, which is a barrio here in Dallas, Texas, man, called Cross Street Church. And but anyway, I'm going to pick up about when I came into population. You see my face on one of these other videos. I don't know how it works. Then you'll know I have part 1, part 2, part 3, and all, and going. But it'll be under something to do with gangs. Okay. Outreach or gangs, so you can punch that in and find me again. Or gangs or outreach or something like that. But check me out, man. I've never done this before. The reason I'm telling you to check me out is because this is what God is able to do with a knucklehead like me. He's able to take me from the pit to the palace. He's able to do the same thing for you. Okay? All right. Well, I'm out of time. Check me on the next one. God bless you. Bye.